Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's your meme of the day, brought to you by 5mind.com. These poor Democrats, what a cruddy position it must be in to constantly feel like you're on the verge of doing something big, only to have it ripped out of your hands time and time again by your own damn stupidity. Well, that's exactly where we are once again with this one. The Democrats thought they had the next narrative. The walls were finally closing in on Donald Trump. This was their moment to finally take him down. They've got a link to Epstein. There's no coming back from that. But of course, unfortunately for them, well, they didn't exactly reveal new information now, did they? Maybe tangentially so, but there was nothing incriminating in those documents, not to mention the falsehoods and inconsistencies, and add a layer of Democrat tampering of the evidence, hiding the identity of Virginia Giuffre. But they spent the last week screaming, "The Epstein files, Donald Trump is a pedo, he's a co-conspirator." And now I guess the question is, as the dust has settled, what are we actually learning? Well, we're learning a whole lot more about Democrats than we are about Trump and Epstein, I'll tell you that much. And it's now been fully revealed, I think, that Democrats have been colluding with Epstein and the Epstein estate for years at this point to use him as a political asset. In other words, the whole Epstein saga is now turning on Democrats, and you could tell all of a sudden, after being so eager to run with this, they're now kind of backpedaling. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. Let's lead with this Hakeem Jeffries video. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks. So it went from Donald Trump is a pedo, Donald Trump will never live this through, to now, well, I don't know, just kind of like lukewarm, vapid political platitudes. Take a look at Hakeem Jeffries getting questioned on the latest turn.
Why should Americans trust you and House Democrats on the Jeffrey Epstein files when one of your own, Congresswoman Plaskett, was found to be texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing, getting information from him, using that in her questioning during a congressional hearing, and at one point he tells her, "Good job."
This is a bipartisan effort to make sure that, consistent with what the survivors have requested, that there's full and complete transparency, and every single predator who may be in those Justice Department files doesn't escape accountability.
You can see it on his face. Where'd all the confidence go? I thought Democrats were going on the offensive with this one. Then in comes Hakeem Jeffries talking about a bipartisan effort. Real interesting. And the whole bipartisan transparency line, I think, is such a joke when you look at what they're actually doing. He claims that it's all about transparency. We want to just get to the bottom of the files. Meanwhile, what have Democrats done in terms of providing any transparency here? They had 4 years under Joe Biden, and if anything, demands relating to Epstein back then were a whole lot louder than they are today. And yet we got 4 years of nothing, but now all of a sudden, as Donald Trump is president, we got Democrats cherry picking all the stuff that they think they could spin on President Trump, not to mention the dishonest editing of the evidence, or, you know, the flat out lie that they pushed last week, claiming that Donald Trump was with Jeffrey Epstein, spending in Thanksgiving in 2017 with a notorious human trafficker, something that never happened, by the way. Trump was president at the time, and his schedule was widely known. He didn't sneak away in the middle of the night to have a freaking sleepover with Epstein. Yeah, bipartisan transparency, says the group of people that are acting in the most partisan manner possible, even to the next level, being disgustingly partisan and dishonest. Yeah, what you saw back there was a retreat on the issue. Democrats were all gun-ho on this whole topic, and now they're backpedaling. And it's very obvious why. It's because it's now plainly obvious to anybody with a working brain that Democrats were working with Jeffrey Epstein and the Epstein estate to smear President Trump. The biggest scandal here has nothing to do with anything that Jeffrey Epstein mentioned about President Trump. No, I'd say the biggest scandal we've seen so far is the fact that Stacey Plaskett, a congressional Democrat, the Democrats' impeachment attack dog, the fact that we've now caught her colluding with Jeffrey Epstein during a 2019 hearing. Documents released show that Epstein was texting her live during the Michael Cohen hearing. Jeffrey Epstein, as we saw live on the feed during that hearing, was texting her questions and nudging her to issue a correction with the pronunciation of Rona when Michael Cohen mispronounced Trump aide Rona Graff's name. We have the literal text messages where Jeffrey Epstein is texting Stacey Plaskett, and you could see in the live feed she starts changing her line of questioning, and then Epstein sends her a message saying "good job," praising her like a good political pawn while watching live on C-SPAN. That is insane. That's the biggest scandal, and it's not just just some random Democrat donor. No, that's a convicted sex offender, human smuggler, known to everybody, by the way, who's sitting at home texting a Democrat congresswoman what to ask in a televised hearing meant to damage President Trump. And she goes right along with it. And actually, this isn't a new thing, by the way. Stacey Plaskett addressed the allegation back in 2023.
Does Representative Plaskett have anything to say? Business Insider has reported on this as recently as, I believe, July of 2023, about meeting with Jeffrey Epstein in 2018 and receiving $30,000 of campaign contribution.
Jeffrey Epstein was a resident of the Virgin Islands. He wanted to make contributions to the Democratic Party. He asked for contributions. He made contributions to my campaign. I do believe that he was a reprehensible person. And after finding out what he had done, I gave the money that he had contributed to my campaign to nonprofit organizations dealing with supporting women and children in my community.
And she chalks it up to, oh, well, he just wanted to make contributions to the Democrat Party, which is a cute little half-truth there, as she conveniently leaves out the part where she was personally begging him for money. She also doesn't mention how she took all of his donations, by the way. She left out the part where she was texting him during the hearings on what to say, and chalks it all up to, well, Jeffrey Epstein just wanted to donate to the Democrats. As if what, he needs you to hold his hand to do so? Give me a frickin' break. She was taking Jeffrey Epstein's money as late as 2019 and coordinating with Jeffrey Epstein during a hearing meant to damage Donald Trump. But we're supposed to believe that Epstein is a trustworthy figure on the issue of Trump. That's another thing, you know. In the emails, Jeffrey Epstein makes it clear that he hates Donald Trump, and obviously he's trying to save his own frickin' behind, so he's colluding with Democrats to give them dirt on President Trump, to allude certain things or kind of imply certain things in these emails back and forth with Michael Wolff. All of it, as we know so far, lies. None of it lines up with the facts as we know them. We're supposed to take his word for it when we know there's a clear political motive here and he's colluding with Democrats. Great strategy. Teaming up with the world's worst human trafficker. Literally anything to get the orange man, right? What a complete and utter frickin' farce. And you know, it's really wild how it's just the same thing over and over again. How many times can Democrats throw milk out the damn window as the car is driving 100 miles an hour, only for the liquidy substance to be pushed back in by the wind, splattering all over their stinking faces? How many times will it be narrative backfire after narrative backfire until people wake up and realize who the hell these people really are? They tried to hit Donald Trump on this Epstein thing, only for their own corruption to be utterly exposed. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.